Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides, and a lot of you have been blowing up my email. You know that I'm a Subaru fan and I love the Subaru brand. And you've been asking me, when am I going to get my hands on a Type RA? Well, if you look and notice behind me, you would see today is the day. I have one of 500 Subaru WRX STI Type RAs. And I just want to give a huge shout out to Spencer and everybody at Loki of Subaru Newport Richie. They're the ones that stepped up to the plate to make today's video possible for you guys, and I'm so happy to be bringing this to you. Now, if you don't know much about Subaru and the WRX and the STI, let me just give you a little brief history. I have lots of other videos in my playlist featuring Subarus and giving you all of the background information on them. You know, we've been kind of cheated here in the United States. We didn't get the Subaru WRX STI until 2004. The STI, which STI stands for Subaru Technica International, that's their racing branch. That's their rally branch. That's their performance branch of Subaru. So you know when you see those three famous letters, you are driving the highest level of performance that Subaru has to offer. Subaru wound up shaking the whole automotive world from 2004 here in the States all the way through. Now with this 2018 Type RA, it's really a game changer. This is the end of an era. You know, a lot of people know that coming down the pipeline for 2020 is that updated WRX STI. Well, this is a great way to send it out. So Type RA, what does that mean? You know, I explained what STI is. Type RA stands for record attempt. What Subaru has done is they broke the record at a track in Germany called the Nurburgring. It's a very famous track, over 9 miles long. They are the fastest four-door car, period. Now, the one that actually broke the record is not this particular car. And to be honest with you, it's not a car that you could drive for the road. There's a company called ProDrive, which Subaru has been working with for many years in the World Rally Championship. They basically built this race-bred machine that looks pretty much identical to this one with a 600 horsepower flat four engine turbocharged, and they wound up breaking it. I think they did a 6-minute 43-second lap, which is lightning fast. But anyways, let's get back to this awesome machine. So 500 of them, only in the United States. You get them in three colors: crystal white, crystal black, and this World Rally Blue. That's what, if you've ever seen WR Blue anywhere, that stands for World Rally, and it goes back to their rallying days. Now, if you're wondering, well, is there one that is more rare than the other out of those three colors? Yes, black. The crystal black is going to be the hardest color to come by, but like I said before, any of these are going to be hard to come by. Let's go ahead and take a look at the front, and we could focus on some of the specific, not only WRX STI specific, but also Type RA specific. So like I said, Type RA, we're talking about record attempt, breaking that record at the Nurburgring. Starting off right off the bat, there's nothing like a Subaru with that huge, massive air scoop. Remember, this air scoop is functional. The reason why it's there is to feed a top-mounted intercooler for that turbocharger. The cooler air, it's more dense. It has this big, huge functional opening. Now, what's unique about the Type RA, there is a power increase. Now, before I give you the number, if you already know, you probably are already a little disappointed. They bumped up power by 5 horsepower. So this has 310 horsepower compared to your standard STI, which is 305. A lot of people are a little disappointed about that. Now, I know at the end of the day, it's not about, is Subaru going to make a 500 horsepower STI? That'd be pretty cool if they did, but I really feel to get it a little bit closer in the market segment with the RS, they could have at least maybe did 325, 330, something like that. So a lot of people are a little disappointed about the 310 horsepower. One thing you'll notice right off the bat is, just like every other 2018 STI, there's been a slight style refresh of the front end of the nose. I really, really like what they did with the piano black grille and then the flatter black lower section of the bumper. One thing that is Type RA specific, because I'm going to focus on those Type RA specifics, is right here, this cherry blossom red pinstriping. If you go back to the days of the history of the STI and you go look at some of the models that were only available in Japan, you'll notice that color. And it also ties in to the STI logo, which is always going to be located here. Remember, that stands for Subaru Technica International. Cherry blossom, think about it. Japan, Japanese, that is cherry blossoms. That's why they went with that color. I really, really like for 2018 the way they went with the larger opening here, made it look aggressive. And this lower lip spoiler, this is a Type RA specific. Now, if you don't have the means or the availability to get a Type RA, you could actually get one of these from the Subaru Performance catalog. And I really like what they did here on the corners. If you look at the corners here, I like the way they have this extra piece sticking out. It makes it look a little bit more aggressive, and it separates it from the old spoiler that they had up here. And like I said, this is something that you could even add to your a little bit older STI. Just look in that Subaru Performance catalog. And then, of course, to finish it off, there's that STI logo. What's great about this is not just all show and no go. This is a functional piece. So when you put this on your car, or like this Type RA has it, it is going to provide extra downforce on the front end of the car and also help get that air into the radiator. Because remember, it's all about air management, air going underneath the car, air going into the front for the cooling. But that's basically where you're looking. One of the biggest complaints, and something personally that I'm probably going to complain about, are these front grills. Now, if this car is the record attempt model to represent what they did over at the Nurburgring, they could have made these functional. Now, there's a big discussion. I know some of you have been commenting in the comment section. I love your comments. You've noticed, and Tom will show you, my cameraman, that there is some opening here. The problem is that that air does not go anywhere. If this was to be a functional brake cooling vent, there would have to actually be ducting underneath the car to channel that air towards the rotor. So that's something that I think Subaru missed the mark on a little bit. And to be honest with you, I think this would have looked a lot nicer if they would have just moved it over, had this blue, and just make it a little bit smaller and a little bit functional rather than just an open air passage. Another thing before we go to the side, all 2018 STIs have adaptive headlights. If you don't know what that is, those are called cornering headlights. When you turn the steering wheel, the headlights are going to turn with the steering wheel. And if you're wondering, wow, that's pretty cool, is that new 21st century technology? I got a little tidbit of history for you. Back in the 1940s, there was a guy by the name of Tucker. He made his own car. He actually had a headlight in the center that turned with the steering wheel. So guess what? That technology has been around for quite a long time, but it's nice to see that Subaru is putting it on their models because it's going to make you safer, especially if you are going at a quick pace at night down a twisty road or doing a track day event, because there are a lot of track day events where people are going to be taking their Type RAs that do run at night as well. So there's the front. Let's go ahead and check out the side. My favorite thing, the thing that makes me such a fan of Subaru, are these two color combinations, World Rally Blue and the gold forged wheels. Believe it or not, this actually happened by accident. If you follow World Rally racing, you would know that in the 1990s, Subaru was running a Legacy. Eventually, the Impreza came out, and there was a sponsorship by a tobacco company called 555. It's a British brand tobacco company. Their branding is blue and yellow. So what had happened was, with that sponsorship, people were so in love with Subarus and all the races they were winning and all the championships with Colin McRae and all that, that the color stuck. And what's interesting is it stuck so well that if you go around to anywhere in the world and you say to somebody, when you think of a color, what brand car do you think of? Well, right off the bat, people would say, if I say red, most people would say Ferrari. Well, guess what? When you say blue with gold wheels, people say Subaru. So even though Subaru pulled out of the World Rally Championship in 2008, they're still making it happen. And that's one thing that really, when I saw it with the Type RA, this is the best color combination. Now with these wheels, these are 19-inch wheels. That's a first. 2018 is the first year that they have a 19-inch wheel on the STI. If you look at like a 2015, when they came out with the redesign, it's an 18-inch wheel. So you're going to have larger diameter. If you look back there, you're going to see for the first time also 6-piston calipers. Now these 6-piston calipers you can get on a standard STI, but you can see they went with this nice silver finish compared to the bright neon yellowish greenish color. Another thing you'll notice back there are these rotors are fully cross-drilled and ventilated. What that means is it's going to handle the heat. This car is meant to take to the track. Those brakes are going to be able to handle the heat. And because these are forged, these wheels are lighter than cast aluminum. That means that's going to quicken up your steering ratio and make your car handle more nimble. So that's another feature. Now, something that neither myself or Tom could show you through this shot is this car for the first time also has Bilstein shock absorbers at all four corners. If you've never heard of the name Bilstein, that's a very famous company with shock absorbers in racing, and that's something that's going to give you the extra performance, because at the end of the day with this car, if you're hoping that this thing is going to make you do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, you're looking in the wrong place, you're barking up the wrong tree. What you'll see is that even though this does have a sticker price of $50,000, it's really the total sum of all the parts that makes this car such a performer. Another nice touch is I like the black STI badging here. Normally this is going to be a shiny silver. Also the black mirrors. That's another Type RA specific. So these are little things that I'm trying to point out to you so that if you see one of these going down the road, you'll know that you're seeing one of only 500 available. Let's take a look out back. I want Tom to show you something up top here. This is going to blow your mind. Now, you may say to yourself, oh, that's a black roof. No, it's not a black roof. This is a carbon fiber roof. This is the first time ever on a Subaru they're featuring a carbon fiber roof. Now, if you look at some other brands like BMW with their M3 or M5, they've also done a carbon fiber roof. It makes sense. It's all about getting that center of gravity to be dropped. This roof is 8 pounds lighter than a standard roof, which would be aluminum. So you could see it's all about that total sum of all the parts. Let's go ahead and check out the back. Here's the next big feature that's going to separate this from your standard STI. Now, if you know STIs, you would know that they have a big, huge rear wing. This one, though, is different. This is full carbon fiber, and it's also two positional. So you could actually adjust this spoiler to give you more or less downforce. Now, you do have to do it with some tools, but it is possible when you're doing your track day. You could come in, adjust it, an autocross event, whatever the conditions are for that particular track, you have that adjustment. And what's beautiful, it's full carbon fiber. I really, really like the touch. I love the STI badging in it. It's a very, very tasteful spoiler, and I really think it's less obnoxious, I would say, to some people than the standard Subaru STI spoiler. And then, of course, out back, I really love, even though they didn't do a lot here with the redesign in 2018, they kept it the same. It looked good. There was really nothing that they needed to do. The Type RA has this special badging here. RA stands for record attempt. I also like the way they took that cherry blossom red and they brought it into the rear bumper here. And also this car has a different exhaust than the standard STI. It's said to give part of that extra 5 horsepower. It's going to be around the 3 extra horsepower mark with this exhaust. So you could see that this car is a special car. And if you're looking for that Subaru that's going to make you stand out from the rest of the crowd, this is definitely one way you could go. But enough about the outside. Let's go check underneath the hood of that Boxer flat 4 engine. All right, guys, here we are underneath the hood of the new Type RA. You're probably going to say, hey, haven't we seen this before? Yes, this is the same engine that basically was introduced back in 2004 in the United States. It's a 2.5 flat 4 turbocharged engine. Now, if you're wondering why do they call it a boxer engine, the reason why is because the pistons are flat in that engine block and they go side to side, almost looking like boxers boxing back and forth. If you look up top, I really, really like how Subaru kept that same cherry blossom red. Remember, that's tied back in with the STI brand. I like the way they put that on the intake manifold. There's that big, huge intercooler, that top-mount intercooler. And like I said before, this duct is fully functional. That hood scoop is fully functional. There are some minor tweaks underneath the hood with the intake and whatnot to help get that extra performance. It's not just about getting that extra 5 horsepower, though. Remember, they did do some different gearing in the car with that third gear section of the 6-speed transmission. Also, this car features different pistons than your standard STI. Now, if you're wondering why did Subaru do that, it's because they know that this car is a car that is going to be taken to tracks, and they wanted to make sure that the owners could do their lap after lap after lap and not have any issues. But one thing I've always liked about the Subaru STI is that the engine sits really low in the frame. That allows that center of gravity to be very low, and that's what's going to help with the handling, because I'm going to say it again, the whole purpose of this Type RA, this is not a drag car. If you pull up next to a Mustang, you're not going to win any races, but when you take it out on a twisty road on an autocross or on a racetrack, that's when you're going to see the big difference. So I don't know about you. This engine's awesome. Let's go check out the interior because there's going to be some surprises there. Let's check it out. All right, guys, here I am inside this brand new Type RA. You could see that a lot of it is going to be the standard fare, what you would find in your standard Subaru WRX STI. You can see on the door panel, I really, really like what Subaru has done by going with the piano black near the controls for the window and for the door locks. I also like the way they use that Alcantara material. Now, here's a little tidbit of information. On these seats, it's a combination of Alcantara and leather. If you're wondering what the heck does that name mean, guess what? That's the name of the company. Alcantara makes this material, and that's why we call it that. It's almost like Q-tips. Technically, a Q-tip is a cotton swab, but we say Q-tip even though it's the name of a company. This one, being the Type RA, automatically comes with the optional Recaro seats. One thing I'm going to point out again, just so that there's no surprises, these Recaro seats, the bottom is a standard STI seat. The only thing that's Recaro is the back of the seat, and I really like the way they embroidered Recaro on the back of the seat with the red in the piping, and also the STI has been embossed on the headrest here, which is a really nice feature. What I like about these seats is that they're comfortable, they're grippy, and they have good places for the wear. Every time you come into this car, you're going to be rubbing up against these bolsters. They're nice and leather. So I really, really like the combination. The only thing that I would like personally is just a little bit more bolstering. These are Recaros. They need to be a little bit grippier, especially the bottom section here, especially if Subaru said they want you to do track days in this car, or they know their customers are going to do track days, you got to have a little bit better track ready seat. But you can see the nice, beautiful piano black finishes. This used to be a faux carbon fiber in the 2015, 2017 models. I kind of like it. I like the way it's just simple piano black. I've always liked the STI logo here that lights up at night when you have the lights on. And here's another 2018 edition. They took some nice red stitched leather pieces on the side where your knees are going to be. Let me also show you, once Tom gets in the car here, they went leather here, and they also went leather up top in the hood. This whole new hood section is totally updated. There's actually a larger gauge, a larger display, and more features. And then, of course, to finish it off, here's your center stack with your infotainment. That's another thing that I wish Subaru would kind of get updated on. There's no Apple CarPlay, there's no Android Auto, and for a $50,000 car, that's a feature that I'm kind of looking for, especially now that I have it in my other vehicles. It's one of those things, you don't miss it until you have it. This is heaven. The most important part where you're going to be is behind the wheel of this car. And what's amazing is that they have probably one of the best steering wheels right off the bat, whether it's an STI or just a regular STI compared to the Type RA. But this one is all that Alcantara suede material. I really like the cross stitching here. I like the piano black with the STI logo at the base of the steering wheel, and you can see it's a flat bottom wheel. Very, very thick wheel, but not too thick. And I love the notches for 10 and 2. This steering wheel, I'll be honest, compared to my Type RA, compared to my Focus RS, this steering wheel wins hands down, bar none. Obviously, the other part that's going to be just as important as your steering wheel is going to be this shifter. It has the short throw kit already installed from Subaru. This is something that you could order optional if you were getting a standard STI. Nice short throws. I've always liked how mechanical the shifter of the STI is. It is a little bit notchy compared to, say, an RS or a Type R, but you can see the throws are very short, and there's that logo, guys. There's that extra specialness. This is number 463 of 500. So this is near the end of the model run. I like this logo. I like the way that it has the STI, the Type RA. Very well done. Another thing that's located right here that's also important is your SI drive. Remember, you could put this into Sport Sharp, which is going to increase the throttle response, increase how the power delivery comes in. Or you could do also intelligent by just pressing down on it. That's actually a fuel saver. So if you're a little, in a crunch where you need to watch your miles per gallon, you could actually push that. Another thing right here is you can control the diffs, the differentials in this car. This car comes with 3 differentials, one up front, one in the middle, and one out back. A lot of people don't realize you could actually send power to the front and power to the rear. One thing I want to point out is never, 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 ever, ever put this into lock if you're on asphalt. If you do that, you're going to burn out the diffs. So my advice is definitely read the owner's manual before you start playing with this. This is leave it in automatic. That's how it starts up. Another thing I wish they would have put on all Subarus is the push button start. Now remember, a base STI still comes with a key ignition. Some people like that. It's reminiscent of the old days. Here's a nice push button start. And I really like what they did on the Type RA by making that button that cherry blossom red. It really ties it all in nicely. I think one of my biggest complaints, I love the seating position in this car. I like the way it's got good visibility. One of my biggest complaints at the end of the day is this armrest. The armrest, I don't know what's going on in Japan, but I don't know about you. I don't want to drive like this. I want to drive with my arm a little bit more upright. Now, there is an optional armrest that you can get. First of all, where is it in this car? Because this is a $50,000 Subaru and it's got the standard armrest. One thing I just want to voice my concern is if you go with the optional armrest, it's not wrapped in Alcantara. Why? Oh, why? It's like this rubberized leather looking material. But you can see at the end of the day, I really am happy with the direction that Subaru is going with the interior of the WRX and the WRX STI. And it's definitely way ahead of where we were once at not too long ago, back in those mid 2000s. So I just am so taken aback by this car. It's just I think we need to go outside the car one more time just to take a look at it, because not only is it look beautiful, but it's also great to talk about. Let's go back outside. All right, guys. So at the end of the day, there is nothing more special when it comes to Subarus than this Type RA. One of 500. You may not agree with the price. You may not agree with what they did horsepower wise, but I think for me, it really is that total sum of all the parts. During this whole thing, there's been some times where I just stood here and just stared at it, because World Rally Blue with the gold wheels, nothing harks back to those rally days more than this. Another thing I just want to point out before we go is not only is Subaru known for their rallying, they also run a WRX STI at the Nurburgring during the 24-hour race, which they've actually won multiple times. So they're not only good on dirt, but they're also great on asphalt. But anyways, at the end of the day, I want to give another big, huge thank you to Spencer and everybody at Loki of Subaru of Newport Richey. They really made this all come together. I want to definitely give a big thank you to Tom for working that camera magic. If you have not yet subscribed, I'm confused. I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit that subscribe button. I have a little bit of everything for everybody. Muscle cars, classics, race cars, Subarus, Corvettes, whatever. If you haven't been to my Instagram page, check it out. I'm constantly posting all original content on my Instagram, Raity's Rides, Twitter on Raity's Rides on Twitter. Also, check out my new Raity's Rides Facebook page. I'm putting all updates, things that are coming out, what we have in store for you. I want to thank everybody so far that has subscribed. All my viewers, we're at 3,500 subscribers. Guys, I'm so grateful, and I just don't know where this is going to go, but I'm just having fun, and I'm glad you're along on the journey with me. And like always, I'll see you on the next ride.